McLaren has maintained that the name was entirely made up, stating in a 1984 interview, "I was asked about the name so many times, I used to invent stories about it. The truth of the matter is, I just made it up. Around that time, all groups were supposed to have mean something. And when you're 13, you think it's profound. There must be some sort of secrecy, but there wasn't."
Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles. So glad to have you here. I am Andy. That's John. We're going to dig into a track today. Yes, John's excited. Are you? John, what do you have in store for me and the audience today?
Have you heard of a band called Prefab Sprout?
I don't think so. Other than
Fair
maybe
enough.
the possibility you've referenced them before, but I don't think I'm familiar with them. No.
Okay, grand. Well, there's a track by them called Bonny.
Bonny?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
As
Well,
in the other half of the Clyde partnership.
okay. All right. I'm
But with
familiar.
a Y, I think that was with a IE, I think,
IE,
but I
right.
can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bonny. There you go.
Okay. Well, I have everything that I need. I will go off, endeavor to give this a listen, and come back and let you know what I think. A sweet crackle of needle on vinyl.
I spend the days of my vanity I'm lost in heaven and I'm lost to earth. Didn't give you minutes, not even moments. All my life in a tower of form.
Oh, I love that.
Shaded feelings, I don't believe you.
There's almost like, I don't know, there's elements of this that are reminding me of like both R&B and jazz. To how this song has been written, and for some reason I don't know why, but I instantly think of again, I don't even know if I can explain why, but like I think of Amy Winehouse and how I think her voice would sound great over just what I've heard thus far. I'm only a minute into this, but it has this, I don't know, again, this sort of amalgam of those aforementioned genres kind of coming together on this.
When you were there before my eyes, no one planned it, took it for granted. I count the hours since you slipped away. I count the hours that I lie awake. I count the minutes and the seconds too.
Earlier there was this interesting like liquid effect on what I assume was the guitar, and now it's like crisp and not just the portion that we just listened to, so crisp and clean. I really love the tones and the effects that they've used quite subtly and judiciously. It's not ham-handed or like, forward in the mix. Everything's really balanced and clean and harmonious sounding together. Yeah, it is really pretty.
Don't live at home. Words don't hold you. Broken soldiers.
like that liquid.
All my silence and my strained respect, missed chances and the same regrets. Kiss the thief and
Drums are so great, precise.
all my insights from retrospect, but Bonny don't live at home. Bonny don't live at home. I count the hours since you slipped away.
Nice little touch on the keys.
Hours that I lie awake. I count the minutes and the seconds too. All I stole and I took from you, but Bonny don't live at home. 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 Bonny don't live at home.
A bright, beautiful sound on the guitar there. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought it was really pretty and clean sounding. Um, I don't know, the Bonnie don't that part I don't understand, and it didn't really resonate with me as much as the verses and some of the other portions of the song, but I did enjoy it. I don't know if I would have flocked to this. If you would just give me, like, if I was at I don't know, a department store and I just heard that chorus, I would have been like, oh, this sounds like, kind of like some milquetoast adult contemporary stuff. But getting the opportunity to sit down and ingest all of this uh, in one go and to hear it in its entirety, there are actually some elements of it that I really, really liked a lot. And again, this towing line of, like, between jazz and kind of like this R&B rock kind of song is an interesting one that I don't know. I think I find it appealing and it sounds good. And the drums were fabulous in this. They were so precise and crisp, and had this wonderful sound to them. Um, as did the guitar. Yeah, good stuff. Enjoyed it. Um, I think I've heard John refer to Prefab Sprout before, but I don't think I'm familiar with any of their work, lest he can provide some insight or factoid that will clear things up for me. And there's only one way to get something like that, and that is to return to him post haste. So let's get back to the man.
Marcus Aurelius Antonius, he's back. So, what did you make of Prefab Sprout?
Oh man,
Change of
short-
pace?
Yeah, it was a change of pace, and short, concise little number. God, I was like, it's over already. Jesus. But yeah, man, the sweet crackle of needle on vinyl, man. I know that's a sound that's not far into you, and it's got to be pretty high up there. As far as sounds produced by non-instruments, right? So yeah, that was a warm, welcoming feeling. And it's followed by these, like, small flourishes of notes that almost sound aquatic in nature. The effect used on them, it's like liquid pouring from a vessel, and I really enjoyed that sound. I'm assuming that's guitar work with some sort of effect on it, but I mean, if you told me it was something else, I wouldn't be stunned. Then some gorgeous strums come in, like rays of sunlight, accompanied by some clicking on the drums and some simple but lovely bass work. The singer joins the song, and he has a great voice, as does the female vocalist who harmonizes along with him. The chorus portion, or what I believe is the chorus, kind of ushers in this opening up of the sound and the music. Just after that, he delivers the line, words don't hold you, broken soldiers. And there is this descending sound, like akin to some kind of modulating sound that goes downward. And that caught my attention. I wasn't expecting that. And this ushers in a lovely guitar lead that is bright but almost hollow sounding as well. And it was subtle, but just a very interesting effect that they used. It's when you couple that use of the effect with the sort of liquid one that I described earlier, there's some really interesting subtle choices used for effects in the song, and I thought that that was really effective. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. There's also some great keys that give this song a bit of bounce and further underscores the bright, clean sound of the tune. Just lovely pinging on notes here and there that I caught by the keys. Also, some really great splashy jazz-like drums that enhance the song as it progresses as well, and I loved that. And before I know it, the song comes to an end with the singer singing "Bonny don't what is the last word? Bonny don't live at," and then it's just and it cuts off. And he's cutting himself off, which is punctuated by this lovely resonant guitar chord. And this wasn't something that I would normally flock to, as you noted when you said, "Oh, a little change of pace here." But I thoroughly enjoyed the tone of the guitar and the vocals and those wonderfully jazzy drums. The music came close to at times reminding me of like rhythm and blues kind of rock music, while also having some jazz elements that I mentioned earlier at points. And I oddly found myself thinking of Amy Winehouse for some reason, and how I would think that if she could have covered this song and given it such a different life, and I don't know why my brain went there, but I think it would sound great if she had sung this song, to take nothing away from the vocals that I really did enjoy. But for some reason, this element of mixing what I perceived to be kind of like this R&B type sound with this jazzy type sound, she was one of the first singers that came to mind when I put all of this together. So yeah, I really enjoyed the song. Again, it's not something that I would have sought out, and perhaps if I had just heard the chorus in passing, I wouldn't have batted an eye or gave thought to giving this a second listen. But a lot of the rest of the song, I really, really did enjoy. And it's not like I hated the chorus. It was just I was neither here nor there with it. But the rest of it, I really did find elements or all of it that I really enjoyed. So yeah, it was a good song.
Yeah, I chose this, as I say, slightly different change of pace in terms of the type of music. There was this thing in this country in the early to mid 80s. It was a kind of like a subgenre type movementy thing, very loose. But they called it sophisti pop. And it's supposedly this more sophisticated version of pop rather than bubblegum.
Yeah, like an adult contemporary kind of.
Yeah. I think a lot of it was based in jazz. You had like the early you had Working Week, they were kind of socialist sort of jazzy pop band. You had the first sort of album by Sade, which again was this more sophisticated soul type thing.
Yeah.
And other bands like that. It's not a great label, but I guess it kind of demonstrates a bit what it's about. I will say that this album is seen as a huge classic. And the one thing I will say about this is the production is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so
you're right. You're right. The production is superb on this song.
And there's a reason for that, but I'll get into it. The British group formed in 1977. They're from County Durham, that's up the top near Newcastle.
Yeah.
They're described as pop, sophisti pop, jazz pop, new wave, and art rock. So in 1977, brothers Paddy and Martin McAloon formed the Dick Diver Band. By 78, they had unsurprisingly changed their name to Prefab Sprout. Now, according to the Guinness Book of British Hits, Singles and Albums, the band's name was a mondegreen from the song Jackson. We got married in a fever hotter than a pepper sprout. And it was apparently misheard by frontman Paddy McAloon into Prefab Sprout. McLaren has maintained that the name is entirely made up, stating in a 1984 interview, "I was asked about the name so many times, I used to invent stories about it. The truth of the matter is, I just made it up. Around that time, all groups were supposed to mean something. And when you're 13, you think it's profound. There must be some sort of secrecy." But there wasn't. So like Spinal Tap, the band had its fair share of drummers. For this in question, the lineup was Paddy McClune, vocals, guitar, keyboards, Martin McClune, bass, Wendy Smith, backing vocals, guitar, keyboards, piano, and Neil Conti, drums, percussion. And Neil stayed with the band for quite some time, actually, a number of years. So the band released their first single, Lions in My Own Garden, brackets, Exit Someone, in February 92, on their own label, Candle Records, whose slogan was the wax that won't get on your wig. Do you see the sense of humor coming through?
Yeah.
Songwriter Paddy McClune wanted a song title where the first letters of the word spout out Limoges, which is the French city where his girlfriend at the time was studying. Thank God it wasn't in Bognor or somewhere. But so music journalist Stuart McConey described the track as enigmatic, melancholy, tuneful, and therefore perfect for a jobless literature graduate with girlfriend problems. Their 1984 debut album, Swoon, which stood for Songs Written Out of Necessity, received critical acclaim and got the attention of musician, entrepreneur, electronic music pioneer, an all-round top geezer, Thomas Dolby. He'd name-checked them actually on a radio show, and they'd heard it. He was praising the album. They got in contact with him, and then he got into. They did some demos, and he produced their second album, 1985's Steve McQueen. It was released in the United States as Two Wheels Good because they were fear of litigation from the aforementioned American actor, which never happened. Anyway, so the album was a modest commercial success, reaching number 21 in the UK album charts, and it provided 4 charting singles, upper echelons of the charts. Well, I mean, upper as in higher numbers rather than upper in numbers, not in sales. Retrospectively, though, Steve McQueen has received lasting huge critical acclaim, widely credited as an indie pop landmark album and ranked by many British publications as among the greatest albums of all time. I mean, really, really, really high up there for that style of music. Among the hugely positive contemporary reviews from the time, Spin wrote, I confess that the usual sensitive singer-songwriter crap almost always makes me squeal with boredom, but McClune delivers the bacon here. So Sony released a legacy version, which was obviously remastered and lots of bits and pieces added to it in 2007. And again, there was a huge number of reviews from that re-release. Record Collector wrote that more than 20 years on, his dissertations on love, loss, and uncertainty are just as affecting. The intelligence of the lyrics matched by the sophistication of the chord structures and the musical arrangements. Pitchfork highlighted Dolby's profoundly 80s. Sorry, nearly missed it. Pitchfork again. I highlighted Dolby's profoundly 80s sonic palette, which reflected one of the defining qualities of the record, its pop ambition, its willingness to engage with the times, precisely by not being a sullen singer-songwriter would-be timeless classic. It's the defining record of 1985 sophisto pop. Steve McQueen has been included in several professional lists of greatest albums of all time. The album was placed at number 47 in the 1993 poll by The Times, number 90 in the 95 poll by Mojo, number 61 in the 97 poll by The Guardian. These are like of all time. So it's really highly rated in this country. It was also selected for inclusion in the book 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. And I just so happen, by chance, to have a copy here.
Of course you do.
I would like to have a look. Yeah, it's just a new thing I got today. So there is, this is the really bad focusy part. So there is Prefab Sprouts, Steve McQueen, as you can see. And it's next to Mekon's Big Black, Suzanne Vega. I adore that album. We turn this way, Brothers in Arms. Not my thing. Oh my God, that's even worse. Yeah, forget that. Jesus Christ. Echo the Burning Man, Ocean Rain. There we go. No one's some decent shit. And then the other way, the Pogues. Sodomy and the Lash. Meat is Murder, Hounds of Love. Oh, these are all what a year to be alive. Rain Dogs, Psycho Candy, Low Life. Okay, now I could go on, and I will. But yeah, so lyrics. I do love the way this song is structured and the way the sort of bits come in and elements. So it kind of gives a little bit, it's not drama, but do you know what I mean? It just adds interest the way it goes in. I spend the days of my vanity. I'm lost in heaven and I'm lost to earth. Didn't give you minutes, not even moments. All my life in a tower of foil. Shaded feelings, I don't believe you. When you were there before my eyes, no one planned it, took it for granted. I count the hours since you slipped away. I count the hours that I lie awake. I count the minutes and the seconds too. All I stole and I took from you. But Bonnie don't live at home. Bonnie don't live at home. Words don't hold you. Broken soldiers. Billy. And as you say, that's an instrumental. And there is these interesting electronic type noises,
Yeah,
whether they are sourced electronically or they're manipulated from it can almost be an acoustic song in some ways, but then with these other elements added in, and that's the genius of Thomas Dolby.
There's also like spoken word elements added toward the end of the song as well.
That's Thomas Dolby singing that bit as well.
Okay, interesting.
He had a number of singles that were charted and some really well regarded albums that I mean they didn't turn platinum or anything, but the early days of synth pop, and he was seen as a bit of a pioneer and a very interesting character. He's an entrepreneur. He did all sorts of create some businesses as well, and really is a very, very accomplished producer. All my silence and my strange respect, missed chances and the same regrets. Kiss the thief and you save the rest. All my insights from retrospect. But Bonnie don't live at home. Bonnie don't live at home. I count the hours since you slipped away. I count the hours that I lie awake. I count the minutes and the seconds too. All I stole and I took from you, but Bonnie don't live at home. Bonnie don't live at home. Save your speeches, flowers off her funerals. That's a spoken bit. Bonnie don't live at home. Bonnie don't live at home. Save your speeches, flowers off her funerals. Bonnie don't live at home. Bonnie don't live at. As you say, it just cuts off that last bit, which again, it's kind of interesting. The follow-up album, From Langley Park to Memphis in 1989, gave the band their biggest commercial success in the UK with the single The King of Rock and Roll. This is problematic for me because the song is written from the perspective of a washed-up singer who has a one-hit wonder in the 50s with a novelty song featuring the chorus Hot Dog, Jumping Frog, Albuquerque. The song reached number 7 in the singles charts, and those the only singles that actually reached in the top 10. And just like in all good Gothic novels, the characters become, in the mainstream public's mind, the very thing they derided. They become a one-hit wonder, and they're known just for that chorus, Hot Dog, Jumping Frog, Albuquerque. It was a piss take, and it now applies to them. And I, it's clever, but actually, I really dislike that song. And it is an intelligent actually approach to it, but it just gets lost in like a lot of intelligent things do. In the midst of time, it's just like, oh, this is bollocks. Band members departed over the years and it sort of dwindled down to just the brothers. They released further 7 albums until Prefab Sprout became just a solo project for Paddy McClune. And the reason was given. So in 2013, in an interview, McClune explained that he had various physical and mental health issues, in particular the deterioration of his hearing and his eyesight, which dictated the way in which Prefab Sprout music was recorded, making it impractical and even impossible for any other musicians to be involved. So he just had to carry on. But he remained fond of and grateful to all of his former bandmates.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just trying to sort of put stuff out there. I know he was talking about some of the stuff in 2017 to 18. There's a backlog of stuff I know, but I don't see any new music coming through. It's tough, isn't it, if you're physically and not up to it, Oh, you remember that Curtis Mayfield? I mean, his last album, he had to sing it line by. He took all his strength to sing one line, then he'd have to rest for an hour or two, and then sing another line. And you can imagine a whole fucking album doing
Yeah,
that.
I know, right?
Just, wow. So there you go. But this, I think, is just a lovely. I say it is pop, definitely, you know. But it's intelligent and it's well crafted, and it's I think what pop can aspire to be, you know. I think it's really decent song. And as I say, the production, the sound is so clean. It really, you know, the same could almost be an acoustic song. It's so crisp, as you said.
Yes.
Really right there. And then there's just other elements to make it so. And it does sound of the 80s as well. But you know, I don't mind that.
No, it sounded good to
People
me.
will,
And I
some
mean,
people won't. Yeah.
yeah, my one gripe with a lot of the stuff that I've heard from the 80s often is the production.
Yes.
And that's again because I don't know, you are what you come from, and I've got more of an ear catered to modern production, or at least 90s and onward. And this like was, you know, superb production work, and it sounds more modern in its approach, at least in this one track, than a lot of the stuff that gives me, you know, pause that I hear from the 80s.
Well, when especially the electronica came through, it was seen as this is the future. So, like we said in a very recent one, they'd even produced the drums to sound like it's synthetic drums
Yeah.
because that was the future, rather than using this electronica, which they, you know, bands eventually worked it out that it enhances what you've got, and you use it that way rather than you drive everything towards it sounded like a fucking Casio.
Yeah.
Although we're not unfond of that either.
No.
It's small doses. Brilliant. All right. Well, I shall wrap things up. Thanks for listening to us, Andy.
Thank you.
Folks out there, tell us what you think. Do you like a bit of Prefab Sprout, particularly Steve McQueen album? I know the ones either side of this are very well thought of as well, but this happens to be my sweet spot. But tell us what you think. If you like this, do hit the like button. It all helps for the good of the country. Yeah, drop some comments. Again, we'd love to hear from you. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And good things will come your way. And that is a cast iron guarantee. And if you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you. But that being said, thanks so much for watching. And we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.